Hello, it's Regina Sanders here with PrayerCommunicationWithGod.com. I want to talk with you today about grief. I'm going to get personal and I'm going to share with you some of my experiences with grief. And I do not promise to be able to get through this without crying, because although it's been more than 20 years, it still is a very emotional time with me. And time is one of the things that I want to talk with you about. A lot of people say that time heals all things, but I'm here to tell you time heals nothing. With time, you learn to accept things, you learn to deal with them, and you learn to put one foot in front of the other. But time doesn't heal anything. So I'm going to take you back to January 10th, 1992. I'm 8 months into my pregnancy, my very first pregnancy, and we were so excited to welcome this new little one into our lives. And I had, for a couple weeks before, had some undescribable pain, some undiagnosed pain. My doctor had told me that with pregnancy you have discomfort. He told me I had indigestion. I tried the things that he recommended me try, and they didn't work. When I went to the doctor on January 10th, we learned that we had lost our little one. She was not moving. They could not detect a heartbeat, and so they sent me straight from the doctor's office to labor and delivery and decided to induce labor. Thankfully, my grandmother was with me. I wasn't alone. But my husband wasn't there. He had worked all night the night before and was at home resting. We had no idea that anything was wrong. None whatsoever. So it come as a shock. To say it knocks the wind out of you, it knocks you off your feet, are all understatements. There's just no way to describe what goes through your mind, how all your emotions hit you at once. But they induced labor. Someone brought my husband to the hospital with me, and when he got there, I could barely even look at him because I felt like I had failed him. I felt like I was a failure. Sorry. I felt like it was my fault. Of course it wasn't. But that's what our crazy little minds tell us at a time like that. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, here is Miss Lauren Christie Sanders. The funeral home director was kind enough to take this photo for us so that we would have a way to remember her and see how perfect she is. She had 10 little fingers and 10 little toes. She was perfectly developed. The hospital even attempted to give us some keepsakes by getting her footprints and handprints for us. But no one come around to ask us what her name was. They weren't interested. My mom was at the hospital with me, and we were talking and just upset, and I asked her, when are they going to ask her name? Nobody's asked her name. What about a birth certificate? What about a death certificate? What's going on? And of course she didn't have any answers. So when the nurse come around, my mom asked her for me. And that's when they told us that in the state of South Carolina, when a baby is born stillborn, even if it's a perfect baby with fully developed 10 fingers, 10 toes, and everything, they don't give birth certificates and they don't give death certificates. If
If the baby doesn't breathe outside the womb, it's not considered a baby. It's considered a fetus. And so they were never going to ask what her name was. But God blessed me with a nurse on staff there who had also experienced the death of a child, who knew what I was feeling. While it wasn't a state-recognized birth certificate, she put together a souvenir birth certificate for me, so I would have it, something to remember her by. This lady helped me more than anything, because she also taught to me about the importance of going to a support group. And she hosted a support group, and thankfully I went. One of the things I learned there was how different men and women grieve and handle things. And while I was in that support group meeting, a man stood up and looked around the room and he said, "This can tear your marriage apart, or it can bring you closer together, and no one can make that decision for you except for you and your husband. It depends on if you allow one another to grieve, if you understand the individuality of one another and that men and women handle things differently, and allow each other the space to grieve as you need to, or if you just choose that you can't hold it together anymore." And for the first time since we experienced this, I could see my husband as human. He wasn't the cold-hearted creature that I had began to think he was. He just had to deal with things in his own way. And sometimes I think it's worse for men, because society teaches them that they have to be the strong one. They can't show any emotions. It's not masculine to cry. And that's so wrong. That's so wrong, because each of us are created with feelings. Each of us are created with emotions. And when we lose someone that we love, it hurts. And we have to process those feelings. We have to process those emotions, whether we're men or whether we're women. And no two individuals, even two females, aren't going to process things in the same way. It's different for each individual, because we're all created differently. And so I encourage you today, if you're traveling through grief, don't give up on your partner. Don't think they're cold-hearted. If you're a woman, it just may be that you need to talk, because a lot of times women are talkers. And if you're a man, it may be that you need to be quiet, because society has conditioned you to hold things in. But either way, whether you hold it in, whether you talk about it, whatever you choose to do, you have to feel those emotions. You have to. There's no way around it. I urge you, do not turn to alcohol. Do not turn to drugs or any kind of substance during this time, because it becomes a crutch. It might numb it for just a little bit, but when the effects of those substances wear off, those emotions are still there. They've just been masked. They've just been hidden. But we have to deal with them at some point in time. It is possible to survive. As I said, we lost Lauren on June 10th, 1992. Today's January 24th, 2014. And I still have good days, and I still have bad days. Every day that goes by, I think about the babies that I've lost. I've just introduced you to one today. I'll introduce you to another at another time. But I want you to know that you can survive this. You do not have to go through this alone. There are others out there who also have experienced loss. And while the circumstances are not the same, And while you feel like at this time that no one could possibly understand your pain, they do understand how deep it is. The grief might not be exactly the same. The circumstances will never be exactly the same. But they know that void. They know that loss. They know what it's like not to know who you are anymore, or how to put one foot in front of the other. They understand. And I pray that you can connect with someone like that. If you can't find that connection, by all means, call me, email me, message me, comment on my blog. I'll call you back if I miss your call. I'll message you back. I'll sit there and I'll cry with you. I'll do whatever is necessary to get you to the next step. But you do not have to go through this alone. Not at all. And I pray right now, and I know, and when I say I pray, you're probably going, oh my God, I don't want to hear a prayer. I'm angry with God. And I want you to know, it's okay. It's okay to be angry with Him. He understands. He knows. He understands why you're angry. He's lost a child too. And so, I do pray for you. I pray that God comforts your heart, that He removes the depression, that He allows you to put one foot in front of the other, that He shows you how to take one breath at a time, and that He just comforts you as only He can do. And I pray that He puts someone in your path that can help you along the way, that you know that you're not going through this alone. May He just bring you peace which surpasses all understanding, peace that you feel like you'll never experience right now. I know you feel like you'll never again have peace. I know you feel like you'll never again have joy. But I promise you, you will. It will come. As you learn who you are, as you learn how to live. Grief is a journey. A long, hard journey. But a journey nonetheless. A journey that is survivable. And a journey that can allow you to help others. And I just sit here today and I just tell you that you aren't alone in this. There are many before you, there are many with you, and there are many that come after you. But you can make it. You can do it. Please don't stop eating. We all have to have food to survive. You may not be hungry. That's okay. Just take a little something. A carrot stick, an apple, something. Keep your strength up. Don't make any major decisions in the first year, such as moving, changing jobs, or that kind of thing. Do things in your time. And if you don't feel like you're emotionally ready to do something, by all means do not do it. It has to be in your time. You have to make the choice. It can't be when somebody else thinks you're ready. Only you know that. And if you're seeing this message and you're feeling completely alone and there's nobody to reach out to, I am here. I'm available, and I'm more than willing to cry with you, to listen to you, to talk with you, whatever you need. May peace come to you, my friend. Thank you for watching this. Bless you.